Buckle up, Vols fans. I-40 is calling your name as Tennessee packs its bags for Chapel Hill and the northern frontier of the Carolinas. This is the Volatile Podcast, your weekly reminder that being a Vols fan is less of a hobby and more of a terminal diagnosis that we all share. I'm Mac Williams, and I'm here with Nick Duncan and Jeff Wright. Nick, how are we doing tonight, man?
Doing well. Ready to watch the Vols fulfill my preseason predictions this week.
I hope so. Jeff?
Yeah, I'm angry. I read the Chaz Coleman news today, and I'm mad. So, it's a day that ends in Y.
It's a day that ends in Y, and you're reminded that you're a Vols fan still. So latest news, Jeff's already hit it. Football. Chaz Coleman still has not reported for summer workouts. Jeff, will you talk to us a little bit about the Instagram post and what's going on there, aside from him just not being there? Like, what's kind of the details surrounding that?
Yeah, so the summer workouts began earlier this week. I'm assuming Monday. Chaz still
Probably
hasn't shown
Tuesday.
up. Tuesday. Oh, yeah, that's right, of course, because of the holiday. Thank you, Mac. So Chaz still hasn't shown up. I guess he's really bad homesick. But after the news came out that he still hasn't reported, Vol fans started posting Instagram pictures of him. He's dressed in clothes that have these high dollar tags hanging off of them, and he started posting pictures of him with like a huge wad of cash. And there's another one where he's got his arm out like a waiter at a restaurant with just stacks of cash running up his arm, and he's standing in front of a new looking. I mean, I drive really old stuff, but a new looking SUV. And I can't tell if it's like a Dodge Durango or a Land Rover, but it's nicer than anything in my yard. And it's just a terrible, terrible look because of what it means about the level of control in our program, the state of college football that I love so much, the state of human society. I just hate everything about it, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, the first question I had was, what should be done about this? I mean, he's got to be off the team, right?
That's not enough, in my opinion. Nick, I don't mean to step on you.
No, I was about to say he's got to be off the team, and someone needs to be taking legal action to get this man's money back.
That's exactly right. There needs to be legal action on the basis of a violated contract to recoup that money. And I don't care who in the university thinks we don't want to be seen as suing a student athlete. We don't want to be seen as attacking basically a kid, whatever. He's rubbing it in your faces. He's not fulfilling the terms of your contract. It's not hateful to say we want our money back and you're off the team. There's no spring portal window now. Take a year. Figure out what it's like to not have a high dollar income from your athletic ability, then come back to the table and say who's ready to hire you next year, and maybe you've improved as a person.
Yep, cosign.
I hear Petros has good employee benefits.
And honestly, truth be told, I would not cut him now that I think about it. I would suspend him so that he can't go to another team.
Join another team, yeah.
And then next year, when the transfer portal opens, I would cut him at that point.
Yeah. I mean, this is just the type of crap that it feels like grown accustomed to seeing. Jeremy Banks didn't necessarily have the benefit of playing in the NIL era like this, but we had issues. Jeremy Banks, obviously, have issues with Booth Carter last year.
Nico, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. Yep. I mean, so it's just like it just feels like this is another one of those guys who's going to create problems. And last year, whether you agree with it or not, to Josh Heupel's credit, he tried to do everything he could to allow Boo Carter the opportunity to right the ship. And obviously that never happened. And I do not see this situation as the same in that you should try and do everything you can to give him the chance to figure it out. And obviously 2020 hindsight, he shouldn't have done that with Boo Carter either. So I'm hoping that Josh Heupel has learned from that and he's going to say, all right, dude, you're done. My next question following up on this was, whatever plan of action that you guys think is best. Let's just assume in your mind that that plan of action is what the team is going to do. Who should be on the front lines of like communicating this to Chaz Coleman, in your opinion?
I would say Danny White
Okay.
because he's the athletic department control mechanism. So Danny's job isn't just to steward the money that goes to Tennessee football. He stewards it on behalf of the entire athletic department. And so this is money that was not allocated for, I don't know, somebody that Rick Barnes wanted, or somebody that Josh Elander wanted, or maybe even somebody like Kim Caldwell. This money comes out of a bigger pie that he's responsible for. And so I would put it on him. And honestly, that would be better even for Coach Heupel, because Coach Heupel can say, well, I'm not the one who made the decision to cut the
I'm
kids'
not
money.
being mean.
Yeah, let Danny White do it. And Danny White styles himself as like a leader in college football, as he's pushing for playoff and collective bargaining and all that stuff. So, all right, Danny, lead and
I
hold him
think
accountable.
too, like to what you were saying, like the university can't care what it looks like. I mean, it just seems like almost everybody except for the players are clamoring for people to stand up to this kind of stuff. And like, I'm not convinced that that the Nico stuff didn't go down the way it did just because Heupel got forced into it now. Cause like he was kind of out the door anyways. Like at that time, it really seemed like, oh, Heupel really put his foot down and just isn't putting up with this anymore. And I'm not super sure that that's the case, but that's how it got spun. And it seemed like the whole college football world was like, oh man, good for him for standing up to it. So I don't even think this is a super hard decision. I think you come out and say, there are people all over this campus that have been here and have gone through summer workouts for all the sports, and everybody's working hard and earning the NIL money that they signed on to, and this guy isn't. So he's suspended and will reconsider his status after the football season. And after the football season's over, you cut him and then you sue to get your money back. That just seems really easy to me. I don't know.
I wish I had the power to make that happen right now. That's exactly what should happen.
Yeah. What do you think? Where do you think Jim Knowles is in this whole situation? Like, what do you think his feelings are? What do you think? Do you think he's probably advocating for Chaz, trying to, get him to, obviously probably talking to him in some capacity and trying to help him, but also do you think he's like advocating for him in terms of the coaching staff, or do you think he's doesn't care? He's probably just focused on football. Like, where do you think he's at with all this?
I don't know enough about him to know, to even guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Where do you hope he's at? What do you hope that he's doing?
I hope he's on the phone with Chaz's parents.
Yeah, and I hope he's telling Coach Heupel, like, I'm going through summer workouts with all the guys that want to be here, and as much as I love Chaz, like, he needs to have a very difficult path back to the playing field if he decides to come back, and that path gets more difficult every day that goes by until a point where there's obviously a breaking point where that doesn't happen. Like, you hope he's saying that kind of stuff. Now, I hope that they don't give him a path like that, but assuming that he's loves the kid and wants to give him every opportunity and be gracious and have a chance for him to play football, then you hope at the very least he's saying, I'd love for Chaz to come back. I want him to play here. Obviously, I went and tried to recruit him, but it needs to be a very difficult process for him to come back. At the very least, at most, you hope he's saying something like what we've already said, which is, Coach, the way everybody else, I think you're going to have an embittered defensive squad if this guy comes back and plays. And, these other guys have been working hard this summer, and it's not a good look for him to just be able to come back and play when they have worked hard and he hasn't.
Yeah.
If he's going to play, if there's some kind of thing where you're like, well, we can't recoup the money or we have to, if we suspend him, we have to pay him or whatever. Ultimately, getting the money back is what your strategy should be built around, because that's the only thing that's going to care. That's the only thing a kid like this is going to care about, or future kids are going to care about. But if there's some hindrance to that, Chaz plays every snap of every special teams play on the field and nothing else. And at the first time he does not run out there for special teams, you activate whatever you can to take his money.
And not even kickoff team, only kickoff return. Suck it, Chaz.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
But he's on the front line blocking.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's exactly.
Dude, kickoff return sucks, dude. Kickoff return is so bad. It's the worst.
Yeah, you're just getting drilled.
Dudes are running full speed at you, and you're standing there, and you're supposed to stop them. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Take it on the chin and then go to the sideline. It's terrible.
Oh, gosh. Oh, dude. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. The good news is, guys, is that we have no history of a defensive player causing drama on the team and then the defense refusing to play because they're standing with their teammate on defense. So there's no history of that in Tennessee football. So you don't have to worry about the defense, siding with Chaz and then not playing defense when it comes to a game in South Carolina in November. So don't worry about that.
I'm redneck mad about this. So I can't be accused of being rational right now. This is the year to call the bluff. Nobody thinks you're winning 10 games. Everybody who's like, we're not playing because Chaz didn't get paid, you're off the team too, pal. Your money's coming back to us too. We're going to play this year with the players who want to be here, and we'll roll with whatever that looks like. So thank you for your resignation letter.
I love it.
And let's have a coaching search this time next year. Burn it down.
If Heupel did that, I mean, he would have my undying loyalty.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so not great news. I mean, obviously,
can't wait for this baseball season to just be over one way or another, and to go into full blown purgatory for the next 12 months.
Yeah, Vol baseball has the power to do something really spectacular with the next month of our lives, but we'll see.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys said all that stuff's good. I mean, I am interested. Like, I feel like I hope Jim Knowles is not sitting there thinking, man, this is a huge blow. We really need Chaz to get this defense installed in year one. Because, like, if you needed all of that if you needed Chaz to, like, have any sort of success on defense this year, then, I mean, because correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Chaz the highly touted guy who was a freshman last year that didn't even really play that much? Yeah. So, like, if Chaz is a linchpin in your success on defense, then you were doomed anyways, especially when you add in the character stuff. I mean, like, there's just no way that he was going to be able to propel you to a successful defensive season, whatever that looks like. He was never going to be that guy. So, like, I hope that Jim Knowles isn't sitting there thinking, man, this is a huge blow to our defense. This should just be like, okay, whatever, I mean, really.
It should be. You've got 24 hours to get your son in here with the best attitude that he can convince us with that he's delighted to be at Tennessee Vol, or we're unleashing everything at our disposal to protect our interests.
Yeah.
Tell it to his mom, tell it to his agent, send it to him in a text. And if he shows up with anything other than gung-ho attitude, get your money back.
Yeah. You heard it here first, Danny White. Jeff is calling you into action. Jeff's been nothing but supportive of you, and now's the time to respond.
He's finally turned against you, Danny.
Here's me. Hold on, I'm about to hold my breath till Danny does something good.
Oh, man. And that's the last you heard of Jeff Wright tonight, folks. All right, so on to baseball. We are headed to the Chapel Hill Regional to face Eastern Carolina on Friday, and that is the North Carolina Regional. So the 4 teams in that regional are by seed: North Carolina, Tennessee, Eastern Carolina, or East Carolina, and Virginia Commonwealth, VCU. So those are your 4 teams there. Guys, leading off the baseball discussion, I had the question, who should you start Friday? We have some latest news on that front. Elander has announced tonight that we will be starting Evan Blanco in Game 1 against East Carolina. So we will talk about that, and let's talk about the discussion. But before we do, I would like to at least hear, before you knew that information, what were your thoughts? Who do you think that we should have started on Friday night? Nick, let's start with you. Who
Hey,
did you have in mind for that? Yeah,
Mac, real
Jeff.
quick. Could I jump in first?
Sure,
I
please.
just want to ask you. I was dependent upon your analysis. It was pretty clear that the Southern Miss draw would have been the best field for us to play in.
Yes.
Is it fair to say we got the second best draw?
I think within the options that were realistic, I feel okay about it. I mean, I think that they were not. I think they have it in the rules that they try not to put like two SEC teams in one regional. They're trying not to do that. So like there's a few like Texas A&M's regional, for example, that's who you'll play if you win this region. Like that regional, I think is objectively like easier than ours. I think we have probably like if not the toughest, the second toughest 3 seed across the board. And so, I think there's some other ones that would be good, but again, I don't think that they were even ever on the table because most of them have SEC teams as the 1 seed, and so you weren't going to be a 2 seed in that region. So yes, to answer your question, other than Southern Miss, I do think this is probably your next best option. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to get my head straight on that. All right, Nicholas.
Yeah, and that's good to say. So yeah, Nick, the question is, who should we start on Friday? This is before you knew who we were starting.
Sure. I think we should start Coons because I think when he's at his best, he's clearly your best. And I think this is the time of year where, well, I do think it depends on the team that you have. Mm-hmm. Because I think what Elander's probably going to try to do is something like what Tennessee's done in years past, but we probably don't have the team to pull it off. Mm-hmm. I'm just hoping that he knows more than I do,
sure,
which I'm sure he does.
Unlikely.
But with this team, I think it's more of what we've been saying all year, which is like you got to win on Friday. We've been saying that a lot. I think it's more of the same, which is that like you just have to do your best to win the first game because this Tennessee team is not going to lose the first game, probably even the second game of this tournament and have the pitching to crawl back and win two after that.
Yes.
So I think you have to stay in the winner's bracket, and I think that means Coons gives you the best chance to do that. He also goes deeper on average than all the other starters, so he's your best shot to hopefully you score some runs. He goes deep into the game, and you can put someone in not named Appenzeller or Arvidsson, and you can save all those guys for the next night, North Carolina.
Yep.
That's what I would have done.
Yep. I'm on the same page 100%. So, Nick, let's just go ahead and flesh out this theoretical idea before we knew. Obviously, Coons is your ace. You just said as much and laid out a great case for why you should start Friday. What pros are there, Nick, in your mind to trying saving him for Saturday? Like, what would be the argument for that if you were going to try and make it?
Yeah, I think the best argument for that is that North Carolina is the 1 seed. So if you can get past ECU with your number 2 guy, then you've got your ace to play the best team in the winner's bracket. So, I mean, I think there is a world where that's the best case scenario. I just think there's way too much unknown about that first game to try to get that done with this team. So,
does it not indicate that Elander thinks Blanco without rust is better than Coons without a lot of game experience in recent memory?
I think it could indicate that.
But you would say it's more likely that he's just thinking second best team gets second best pitcher, best team gets best pitcher when we face them.
I think it's just as simple as Coons is your best guy. Try to save him for the best team.
For the best team.
Yeah. So, Jeff, your initial question, you were just saying that given the amount of rest each guy's had, you're saying that Elander might be thinking or might believe that Blanco, given his amount of time between outings, is in a better position to start Friday than Coons is. Was that the question?
Yeah,
I'm understanding.
Yeah, that was my initial read on it. That he thought he's more in rhythm.
Yeah, well, there's an argument to be made that could be it because, I mean, obviously they did throw Blanco against Arkansas in the SEC tournament. So Blanco threw a week ago tonight.
Coons hasn't thrown in 2 weeks.
yeah, Coons hasn't thrown in 2 weeks. So, Coons's clock, if you will, is already pretty jacked up because he hasn't thrown in 2 weeks. And Blanco is, as tonight would be the night where he would throw again, but you're adding on an extra 36 hours to that. And, so I think there could be an argument for that. I wanted to lay out really quick. This is before we knew, but I still want to do this for our listeners and for you guys because I think this is interesting. So Blanco has a history of pitching against North Carolina because he played at Virginia, obviously. So he has 2 starts against North Carolina. He is 1-1 against North Carolina in those 2 starts. Both of those were for Virginia. The first start was in April of 2023, and Evan Blanco went 6.1 innings, so 6 1/3, with 7 strikeouts, and Virginia won that game 7-2. So pretty solid outing. Obviously, got some good run support in that game. His second start against North Carolina was the very first game of the 2024 College World Series, the College World Series that Tennessee won. And so if you remember, Blanco threw the first game against North Carolina. He went 6 2/3 innings, allowing only 2 runs. But in that game, if you remember, because Tennessee played North Carolina after North Carolina won, Virginia lost in a walk-off in the 9th inning, 3-2. So Evan Blanco, if you told me we lost 3-2, my starter went, basically 7 innings. That's a pretty good outing, only giving up 2 runs. So,
Yes.
And obviously that's at the biggest stage. You're in the opening round of the College World Series. So that's Blanco's history against North Carolina. I'll be honest, when I heard this or when I thought about this, and I also thought about the fact that common baseball knowledge would tell you, you don't want to do anything that could mess up. Like, you don't want to throw off on Friday and save your best guy for Saturday and then somehow find a way to lose Friday, and then you're just going to be kicking yourself because now you're going to throw Coons
You're going
against
to throw Coons against
Virginia Commonwealth.
VCU in the losers bracket.
Right. All right, let's try this again. So I do think there's an argument to be made that Tegan Coons is a riskier option against North Carolina just because you don't know, are you going to get the best version of Tegan? Are you not? I feel like Blanco's a little more consistent week to week, even though his ceiling clearly is not as high. So I'm not saying that Blanco is a better pitcher than Tegan Coons. I don't believe that. But I do think there's an argument to be made that the best chance of success, knowing you have to win 2 games, is Coons against a weaker opponent in East Carolina and then Blanco against a better opponent, especially when you look at the fact that, as Elander said in his quote, that Blanco is a veteran, he's experienced, he's pitching big games. All these things to me sound like, yeah, he should start against North Carolina, not,
Yep.
yeah, we should throw him against East Carolina. And so we can get to now, Elander, obviously he's announced that Blanco is throwing against East Carolina and you are saving Tegan Coons for North Carolina. So, Nick, you and I are agreed that we would have made a different decision. So now that you know what the decision Elander's made, what do you think about that?
I mean, obviously, I just think it's not the best decision. I don't think it's like the end of the world, but it's one of those things where it'll be fine as long as it works. And if it doesn't, then we're going to be on here next week being like, why didn't he throw Coons the first game?
Mm-hmm.
So, I just think it sets you up for what is possibly it's just high risk, high reward. I think like it's like, what is the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is that Blanco can't go deep in this game. You got to have Appy or RV throw a bunch of pitches as well. And not only, and then like, what if you lose that game? What if Blanco and Appy are both spent and now you've got Coons and RV to just try to stay in the tournament? What happens if you have to throw both of them against VCU? You just have 0% chance to win that next losers bracket game to try to get into the final, in which you will still have to win 2 games.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I just think that like with this pitching staff, it makes the most sense to do the more conservative thing and to try to guarantee as much as you can that you win that first game.
Yeah, I agree. And I said last week when Jeff and I were on that I think that you ideally, and you said this as well, Nick, tonight, ideally, if you throw Coons on Friday, you try and stretch him 8, 9 innings if you can. And I don't think Evan Blanco can give you that. So you're basically guaranteeing you're throwing Blanco and someone else on Friday. Whereas Coons, you might have been able to get by with just him, or like you said at the beginning, anyone not named Arvidsson and Appenzeller. You could have definitely probably got by with Coons and then Bo Rudy in the 8th or the 9th, and that's all you use on Friday. But with Blanco, I think you're going to have a little bit more of a longer relief outing from somebody.
Yeah, he just doesn't throw 7 innings, and Coons almost always throws at least 7, sometimes more. And so
Right.
if you're up, let's say you're up 3 or 4 runs, and Coons runs into a little bit of a jam and gets out of it in, let's say, the 7th, you're like, I'm going to go back to him again in the 8th. Let's see if we can get by,
Right.
without burning our guys. Whereas if Blanco does that, you're like, he's out of gas. There's no chance. Like, we've got it. And now you're up 3, and you're like, well, I can't throw probably anyone other than Appy or Arvidsson at that point.
Yep.
So I just think you're necessarily going to burn 2 of your guys no matter what by throwing Blanco game 1, like 2 of your best 4 pitchers. So
yeah. And I think it was Eric Kane was talking about how if whoever you throw on Friday, if you end up having to play Monday, and so how Monday would work, right, is if the team that is in the losers bracket beats the team from the winners bracket on Sunday. So if that were to happen, then you're playing on Monday, winner take all game for the region. Eric Kane was laying out that whoever you throw Friday could bounce back because we saw them do this with Liam Doyle. So they could bounce back and throw a little bit on Monday. Well, Blanco can't throw 7, 8 innings if he goes that far on Friday and throw Monday. Tegan Coons might be able to do that.
Right.
And so I think Coons gives you the best chance of he could throw a full game and guarantee you that you don't use any bullpen arms. But also, like, let's say he only goes 7, he also could come bounce back on Monday and throw again if you're in a winner take all game. And now I just think you've kind of said no, we're not doing that. Basically, to me, what this says obviously is that Elander thinks we can beat ECU kind of without, he thinks we can beat them with using 2 arms that are good. And you're going all in on Saturday.
Or the even better case scenario is he thinks we're going to hit well enough that I can throw Blanco for 6 and some change, and then we're going to throw somebody not named Appy and RV to finish that game off. Like, because maybe we're up 5, 6, 7 runs. Like, obviously that's the best case scenario, and if that happens, I'll be thrilled. But it seems like there are way more bad options that can happen versus that one best outcome. Whereas throwing Coons leaves you, like, throwing Blanco and it going bad only leaves you like D- options left. Throwing Coons and it going bad feels like you have some B-, C+ options going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And is this confirmation that Landon Mack is probably going to pitch if he's willing to throw Blanco game 1?
I don't know. I mean, obviously you would think so, because I don't know how in the world you could decide to save Coons for Saturday and you don't even know who you have
no one
Sunday.
Else to throw after
right.
them. Yeah.
Right. I don't even know how you can make that decision. So I think it has to, if we get to Sunday, even if you win Friday and Saturday, because this all works perfectly, if you get to Sunday and Landon Mack's not available, I don't even know what you're going to do at that point. Obviously, if somehow you
hadn't thrown Appy or RV, you're throwing one of them. But
right, and probably both. You'll probably start
chances of getting 2 regional games by only throwing 2 of your best 4 pitchers are not high.
Right. And so I'm worried. I'm worried about this decision, to say the least. It's not the one that I would have made, but obviously, if this all works out, Elander is going to look like he managed it beautifully. So let's talk about the ECU game specifically. This game is Friday at 11 a.m. on ESPNU. So all you working men out there are going to be probably missing this one, myself included. ECU and Tennessee have no common opponents yet, but Eastern Carolina did go 1-1-1 against UNC in the regular season. So the game 1, they lost 10-0 in a run rule in the 8th inning. Game 2, they won that game 10-3 against North Carolina, and then game 3, it ended in a tie, 3-3. So East Carolina has played North Carolina before. They won one of those games. obviously, we've already talked about East Carolina is probably the best 3 seed out there. Jeff, as someone who maybe hasn't heard as much, are you surprised to hear that East Carolina played North Carolina and played them pretty tough in a series, or no?
No, I mean, I guess I've got ECU on my radar as like one of those teams that's pretty good. It seems like Carolina, the the colleges in the state have pretty good baseball programs. I don't know why
North
that
Carolina,
is.
North Carolina baseball culture is pretty high.
Yeah,
Just generally, they keep a lot of those guys in state. Yep.
yeah. It does seem kind of like Indiana with basketball programs. Like you throw a dart at a map and you'll find a pretty decent squad. So I guess I'm not super surprised.
Yeah,
And I
that's
don't
kind
have
of true for like just the Mid Atlantic coast generally, like Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. Like there's just pretty good baseball,
yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I also don't think of North Carolina sports as much outside of the basketball program, which has been down for a while too. And so I guess I'm not overawed by North Carolina.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in light of that, I did have a fun stat here that I wanted to get to, which is what North Carolina has done this season. Obviously, most likely, if you win against East Carolina, then you're going to face North Carolina in the second game. Um, North Carolina's already played VCU, and North Carolina run ruled them 13-3 in 7 innings. So they actually have already North Carolina's played both the teams, the other 2 teams other than us in this regional already this season. Um, so the fun stat I had here is that North Carolina is actually 2-2 versus Georgia Tech this year. And so, I know we talked last week, Jeff, about how, Georgia Tech was the team we didn't want to see. So North Carolina beat Georgia Tech in their regular season series this
Yeah,
year.
that's impressive.
Yeah. So they won that series 2-1. They won game 1 5-2. Game two, they run ruled Georgia Tech 14-4. And then in game 3, they lost 5-2. Now their second loss came from the ACC championship game where they lost 13-6 to Georgia Tech. So obviously, like as the season's gone on, Georgia Tech has gotten better. So it doesn't necessarily mean that North Carolina is objectively better or as good as Georgia Tech. I don't know that they are, but I did find it interesting when I was looking into these teams that they had played Georgia Tech so tough. I also went back and watched the AC championship game, and that game was really interesting because North Carolina for the first 5 innings played better than Georgia Tech, and they were down because of some defensive mistakes they made, and they battled back and made it like 6-5, I think, in that game. And then the wheels just fell off. North Carolina had a ton of wild pitches, pass balls. They were just giving up runs left and right because they were throwing the ball over the place. I walked away feeling like North Carolina, Georgia Tech put the pressure on them. Like Georgia Tech played well, but North Carolina really shot themselves in the foot and made that game uglier than it actually was.
Well, here's to the Tar Heels shooting themselves in the foot when we beat ECU.
Yeah, I hope so. But hearing all that, did either of y'all know that they were split with Georgia Tech this year?
No, I didn't.
No, haven't kept up with ACC baseball much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not shocking to me. It doesn't, I'll be honest, it doesn't do a lot for me because someone somewhere is on their podcast that they produce for their parents that's playing in whatever regional Texas is, the regional Texas is hosting, talking about how Tennessee beat Texas 2 out of 3. And so it's just baseball a little bit. I mean, it's interesting. I'm glad we're talking about it.
Sure.
I think we should talk about it. But it's not like freaking me out that North Carolina's beat Georgia Tech, twice this year. So,
yeah, I wouldn't say it freaks me out, but it was surprising to me when I looked into that.
I'm also not saying you're freaking out.
Yeah, and the fact that like one of those games was a shellacking, like they 14-4. I mean, they destroyed Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I walked away from that thinking North Carolina. Obviously the ACC generally is weaker than the SEC in baseball, but like I walked away thinking North Carolina might have suffered from their biggest loss of the seasons coming from maybe the best team in college baseball. And we might be in for it if somehow Georgia Tech really is as good as advertised, and North Carolina's only significant losses have come at the hands of that team. We might be facing an opponent that's better than what we've seen in the SEC. It's possible.
Yeah, I think it's on the table.
So obviously you hope to win Friday and see North Carolina on Saturday. Going back to North Carolina, North Carolina and Tennessee do have one common opponent. It's South Carolina. North Carolina beat South Carolina in the regular season 9-1, and obviously Tennessee beat South Carolina in the SC tournament 11-6. Something to note about that is obviously North Carolina's margin of victory is bigger. They also played South Carolina at a time where South Carolina wasn't as bad as they were at the end of the season. The wheels kind of fell off for South Carolina. So that was another data point for me of like, we beat South Carolina by 5. I know we didn't throw our best, played them in the tournament, but, North Carolina also played South Carolina when they were objectively better. I think that Tennessee's going to have their hands full on Saturday, and you're going to need Coons' best outing to have any sort of success on Sunday, because obviously if Coons, even if you have the lead, if he's only able to go 4 or 5 innings, that does not bode well for what the bullpen has to do on Sunday.
Isn't the hope, though, with Coons that he can go deeper based on what we talked about earlier?
Definitely. I mean, that's definitely the hope. And if he does, if you win Friday with Blanco, and let's say you only use one other guy, and then Coons is able to go 7 against North Carolina, and you also win that game, yeah, Tennessee should win the region at that point. They would have Appenzeller and or Arvidsson left for Sunday, and between that guy or both those guys and whoever you have left, you should be able to string together enough hits against North Carolina's at that point would be their 4th best arm, because they'll have had to play a loser's bracket game before that. Yep. So, you should be able to win that game, even if you're playing North Carolina. But obviously, this whole region just comes down to, can you go 2-0 in the first 2 days?
Yep.
And Tennessee, if they don't go 2-0 in the first 2 days, is going to take a miracle to get out of that, to get over that. And if you do go 2-0 in the first 2 days, depending on what it looks like, you should be set up for success to win that region.
Play ball.
Yeah. Just win, baby.
Yeah. Any other notes, guys, that you want to cover about the region, or anything that you're looking forward to, arms-wise, bullpen-wise, lineup-wise?
Nope, just that this would be one of those events I'd like to travel to. If we had infinite money, I think spring in North Carolina, particularly as rainy as it's been here, might be a nice way to spend a weekend. So one of these days.
It's the best tournament, boys. This is the best college sports tournament, in my opinion.
And that's a hot take, bro.
Oh, I think it's the best. It's so fun. I think it's better than March Madness.
I was about to say,
I think it's better than the college football tournament. The college football regular season is way better than the playoffs. I think that the road to Omaha is the best thing in college sports.
Yeah, so. I don't hate the opinion. I just think it's a hot take with March Madness kind of holding the King tournament crown.
Yeah,
they're not doing themselves any favors expanding it more.
Not at all. No, they already had those fake games that they were trying to pretend like were part of the tournament. Now they're doing it worse.
It's just such a unique. It's so cool. You got the regional with the 4-team double limb tournament, and then you get a 3-game series for the supers, and then you have Omaha. You got 2 double limb tournaments, and then a 3-game series. Like it's incredible. Like it's the best.
Yeah. So one thing I think is interesting, looking ahead, if Tennessee were able to find their way out of the region, it seems like it's pretty generally accepted knowledge that if Tennessee is able to make it through the Chapel Hill Regional and make it to a Super Regional, we would be facing most likely Texas A&M on the road. We would be in College Station for that. Obviously, there's a chance
in postseason baseball.
It's true. There's a chance, obviously, that USC is not a bad team. There's a chance USC could somehow upset Texas A&M in that regional, and I don't know who would be hosting if USC was to upset. I think, if you remember, like, there was the year where Southern Miss upset whoever it was that they upset. and Tennessee had to travel to Hattiesburg instead of hosting that super regional. And there was a lot of drama there. And it was basically because the committee decided that there was better like hotels and stuff like that in Hattiesburg than in Knoxville. That was like the decision, was that they could host a super regional better than Tennessee could. So I think it's still subjective. I say all that to say if Tennessee would host or not if they were to play Southern California. But obviously, with the new stadium renovations, with everything Tennessee's done, I would imagine that we'll be hosting that super regional.
Yep.
Anyways, all that to say, if Tennessee were to make it to the Supers either way, either hosting Southern California or traveling to College Station, it seems like it's generally accepted common knowledge that Tennessee is a better suited team for a super regional than they are for a regional. Do you agree
100%.
with that logic or no? Okay, Nick, yeah?
Yeah, I agree with that just because you win 2 games and it's over. And we have a pitching staff that can win you 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
And so in a regional with the potential for a loss or even staying in the winner's bracket, you just generally have to have more pitching because you're having to play more games and you have to manage the possibility of more games. So it may change even what you do earlier in a series with your pitching. And so I think this Tennessee team this year particularly, that is true. I think Tennessee's been really successful in the regionals and in the College World Series, like during the Vitello era, because it's just bullpen talent, like pitching talent has just been insane. And so even those 4-team double M tournaments haven't felt overwhelming because it just always feels like there's another guy to throw.
Right.
Like all the way down to the bottom of the bullpen. And obviously that's just not the case this year. So I think this team particularly, yes, is better built for a 3-game series.
Look at you guys counting your chicks before your eggs hatch.
It's a theoretical, Jeff. It's a theoretical.
It's definitely theoretical.
It's a theory. We're going to get to find out. We're going to get to find out.
Yes, we are. It is interesting,
I'm going ahead and obviously giving you my predictions, but we're going to get to find out.
Because Nick, if that does happen, if Tennessee wins the region and they're set up great for a super, you could be staring down the barrel of me and Jeff being right about Omaha being the goal for this
Boys,
team.
I hope you're right. I would love to be wrong. I'll eat whatever it takes. Like we can just like retrofit hot wings challenge onto this. I don't even care.
Hey, Grok, how many mountain oysters for sale?
I'm sure we don't need grog for that, boys. Where we live, we can find somebody.
That's true.
Oh, jeez. But yeah, I mean,
recipes.
Oh god, I agree that it feels like if this team can find a way to make it through this weekend, that they are going to have a really good chance to win next weekend. Now, I think the
this
biggest
segment
thing
brought to you by our sponsor for Ready to Be Hurt Again.
It's true.
We're always ready to be hurt again, but we're here now. I'm not going to be. I'm full blown orange tinted glasses, son. It's the end of May, and we're in the postseason.
I started a GoFundMe for prosecuting Chaz Coleman, so I'm a little different.
Chaz Coleman's future volatile's problem when this is over.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I really feel good about the chances of winning against A&M in a super if you make it there. I think the biggest thing, really, obviously, this decision to start Blanco instead of Coons is scary, and there's a lot of unknown there. But it seems like the biggest factor really is Landon Mack. Like, are you going to have him on Sunday or not? And if you have him and you win, if you win Friday, Saturday, and you got Mack on Sunday, I mean, Tennessee should win. And if they don't win, it's because they did it to themselves. I mean, most likely.
Yeah, and also, we haven't talked about this, but, just hit the baseball. If you're scoring 8, 9, 10 runs every game, then the pitching just becomes less of a factor. If you're
Is that what we needed to do? We just needed to hit the baseball more? Why didn't we tell them? We should have told them.
This is the most Mac and I have talked about pitching all year. We've been saying all year we needed to be hitting the baseball more.
Yeah, my point is just that, if it were that easy, we probably would be a number 1 seed. Pardon me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are objectively hitting the baseball much better the last month than we did the previous 2 months of the season. So if they can keep that up, then the pitching just becomes less of a factor.
We also we didn't talk about this last week. Another thing to mention, just about the team, thinking, Reese Chapman did get injured last week during the SEC tournament, practice. He got hit in the face with a line drive, and
he's cleared, right?
Yeah, it sounds like he had a similar-ish situation to Stone Lawless, and he kind of had a temporary surgery to allow him to be serviceable this weekend in the regional, and so he's going to be wearing kind of the softball mask on his helmet, just like Stone is. So we're going to have two guys that look like softball players out there. If Stone plays, I mean, Stone hasn't seen the field in a little bit because he's not hitting that well. Yeah, so that's interesting.
You're glad that's to have a great story. Back. Do it for Reese. Yeah. What a dog. Yeah. Coach, sew my face up long enough that I can go win a regional, please. I mean, I love that.
And hey, 2024, I was rewatching 2024. Reese Chapman hit a bomb against North Carolina in the College World Series. So would love to see that play out again.
Oh man, I'm telling you, boys, I'm feeling good. I don't know, I got a feeling.
Well, I hope your feelings are right. Let's do it. Let's get into predictions and expectations. Jeff, why don't you go first? And remember what your powers entail. What do you predict, Jeff? What do you think is going to happen this weekend?
Yeah, I think Elander's probably been a little bit too clever trying to game the pitching rotation. And so he gets walked by an ECU team. They go into the loser's bracket on the wrong foot, and they get a hold of a North Carolina team that's gotten or VCU that's just beat good competition this year. So they either VCU takes them out, or North Carolina shows them what a team that can go toe to toe with Georgia Tech can do.
I think that's possible, definitely. Nick, what do you think?
I think we're going to win this regional. I think we're going to win the first two games, and then we're going to drop one to North Carolina and then win the second game.
Wow, that is bold. That is bold for sure. I don't know, man. If I'm predicting us to win, then Tennessee's going to do this in 3 games if they're going to win. I mean, I don't know how, if you lose, the Sunday evening game after North Carolina's already played what's most likely going to be East Carolina, and they're throwing at that point, it's probably worse than their 4th best arm, but they're throwing the next guy they have after 3 or 4 games. If you're not able to beat that guy, then Tennessee's not going to have the pitching either. It's just going to come down to who can hit more. And North Carolina at home, I don't see Tennessee winning that. So, but I think my prediction is going to be Tennessee wins Friday against East Carolina. I think we will lose on Saturday. I think Coons is going to probably have a good outing, but it's not going to be good enough because the hitting is not going to be good enough. And so I think Tennessee will drop Saturday. I think they'll win Sunday, probably against East Carolina again, and then they'll lose to North Carolina on Sunday evening to end their season. That's my prediction. Is either of y'all's predictions different than what you expect to happen? Are you making a prediction, but then you think maybe that something else is going to actually happen? You're just kind of hoping?
No, I think we're going to win. It may not play. I'm obviously being dramatic. It may not play out exactly like I thought, but I do think, I don't know, man. I just think they're going to win this. I won't be shocked if they don't because of the pitching, the lack of pitching that we have. But I think Elander's going to a super. So,
well, if he's going to a super, Nick, they're going to Omaha. I already believe that.
I'm fine. I already
believe that.
Obviously, I'm fine with that.
If you
I'm
make
just taking it 1 week at a time. I'm just taking it 1 week at a time.
If you make it out of this weekend, there's no stopping us. We're going all the way to Omaha, baby.
I believe there is some stopping us.
Yeah, the stopping us is going to happen this weekend, though, if it's going to happen.
There's a fair amount of stopping us available.
And then, obviously, when you get to Omaha, I mean, who cares? You made it. It's fine. Yeah. Whatever.
Oh, yeah. Good grief. I think if this team gets to a super, everything after that is gravy. I think you're right. If they get to a super, they probably are going to Omaha. But if they got there and lost that series to A&M, I would still be like, that was a successful season.
Yeah. I think all things considered, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have said it at the beginning of the season, but yeah, I think all things
Sure.
considered, definitely. Especially, I mean, if you're able to win this weekend without Landon Mack, I and I'll be honest, guys, like I at this point, I don't expect Landon Mack to pitch. I mean, that's just like we've not seen any evidence that he should be available. I mean, he should have been available weeks ago. He should have pitched in the SEC. I have no idea what's going on. So at this point, I'm not going to expect him to pitch. I do think, like what you said, Blanco on Friday makes it seem like he's ready, but like we haven't seen him, and at this point, I just have no faith that we're actually going to see him. And so if you
think
don't,
it's
if
like
you,
you think it's like a Tommy John situation? They're just not telling us. Something. I mean, maybe not that particular injury, but something like that.
yeah, I think at this point, I think it's more serious than what they're leading on. And I don't really know why. Like in football, I think it like, oh, so what? Like your Sunday starter's not going to throw. Like, is it really that much of a competitive advantage? I don't know. Like at this point, I just am like,
no, because everyone's just trying to win the next game in a tournament.
right,
Like
right. So it's like if he's not available,
VCU,
what,
ECU, and North Carolina do not care who our third pitcher is right now.
right,
Nobody cares. They don't even know his name.
right, right. And so it's like I don't know if he's ready. Why hasn't he thrown before? Because he could have easily thrown a little bit in the SC tournament. Just even if it's like a 25 pitch count, like, hey, just get out there and let's see how you look because we haven't seen you in a while. I just don't understand why you haven't seen him at all if he's okay. And if he's not okay, I get why he's not playing. But then you just need to be like, yeah, he's done. His year's over.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. All right, guys. Anything else?
I was just looking for news on Landon Mack, and there's speculation about Tommy John's on Vol Twitter.
Oh, perfect.
He's going to be on the roster, but Elander said day to day at his last press conference. So Vol Twitter is thinking, go ahead and get your Tommy John surgery since you'll need to get ready for the draft.
I mean, he's been saying day to day for a month.
Yep.
It's like, at what point are we not day to day and we're just month to month? I mean, like, it's ridiculous. But all right, Nick, tell them where we can find us.
You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, and you can find us on X at volatile_1998. And we also post this on YouTube weekly. So you can find us there. Whether you're sad about something. You're either sad because the football program can't keep it together and someone's always a problem, particularly on the defensive side of the football, or you're sad because you just don't know why in the heck we won't just roll Landon Mack out, right? Or you're sad because you think we're going to lose this regional, or maybe you're a little hopeful, but you're going to be sad this time next week. So, I mean, all those things are possible. You will be sad is the point. And so you need someone to go through it with you. So find us at one of those places, and we'll go through it together.
That's right. Remember, it's terminal.